9:06 a.m. Prayer and CCD Board of Directors for holding the hearing of the following permit and permit applications. This meeting open to the public, hearing open to the public. Move on to item 2, administration. Marty McClure.
Mr. McClure, if you wouldn't mind standing. Repeat after me. And by the authority of the state of Texas, I, Barney McClure, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of Director for the Prairie Lands Groundwater Conservation District. Texas, and will, to the best of my ability, serve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Congratulations, Mr. McClure. Welcome to open arms. Claire, can you call them, please?
Director Becerra,
Here.
Director Kurt, Director Osborne, Director Tischler, Director McPherson, Director Smith, Director Curtis, Director McClure. We have a quorum present.
Thank you, Sinclair. We'll move on to item number 4. Kathy, received the permit hearing report. Manager.
Thank you. As I mentioned earlier, I have included an updated permit recommendation in your board packet. Copies have been placed at each of your desks. In addition, we do have Wade Oliver with Intera with us virtually. Sinclair, can you please make sure you see? Point that out earlier. Good morning, Wade.
Good morning, everybody.
I wanted to brief you on this. We have worked with Intera to review this for minimum spacing to ensure that the applicant is in line with the district rules. As you will note, I have provided some additional information. And Wade, do you want to go through how you did this? And they can read, if you look at number 6, it kind of outlines how they looked at this. And there are recommendations of modifying the permits, applications, location, or gallons per minute. But I'll let Wade explain a little more how he came about this information.
Yes, I can do that, Kathy. And Kathy, quick sound check. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, you're coming in very nice. Great.
So we did a well spacing analysis to look at whether this was meeting the well spacing and the property spacing requirements of the district. The well as proposed, the first screen is at 1,040 feet and it goes down to a depth of 1,200 feet, which crosses several of the layers of the lower portion of the Trinity. So it starts in the Hensel, and then the Pearsall, and then it is screened across most of the Austin. So we did the analysis assuming that some production would be coming out of each of those layers, weighted by the screened screened interval across each and the transmissivity or the hydraulic conductivity of each. So we did that, and so we developed a required minimum spacing and a required property spacing for each of the layers. And the Austin layer was the one that drove both requirements, which if you look at the map, there's a green circle. So that's showing the the 3,146 foot minimum well spacing for the Austin. The well spacing for the Hensel and Pearsall were less than that, so they're not shown. And there was only one well that fell within that green circle, and that was that's a well that's in the Paluxy in the very upper portion of the Glen Rose, so it's not applicable to these aquifers. On the minimum property spacing, we estimated that the proposed well location was about 540 feet from the property line, and going through this analysis, the required minimum property spacing was 624 feet, again, driven by the Austin. So that's 84 feet. If they wanted to meet the required minimum property spacing, they have a couple options that I've added there in the notes. Moving the well 84 feet farther from the property line would get them there. They could also drop the proposed pumping rate to 115 gallons per minute as opposed to 125, which would get them there as well. So instead of doing 2 circles, which is what I believe you've seen before, what I did with the blue line on the map there is that line is 624 feet away from the edge of the property. So my hope is that would help the board and would help the applicant see where a well could be placed within the property to meet the spacing. And just as a note, I know this is a somewhat different format than you've seen before. I tried to condense it down to a page to make it a little easier to take in, but I am open and want to hear any feedback now or later in terms of what is most helpful for the district staff and the board as you review these. I'm happy to answer any questions.
I'd also like to mention, I believe we have representatives with the permit application here today from Barco, is that correct? Do y'all have any comments or questions? Do you mind coming to the mic? I apologize. It's the only way we can get it to record through our system. Thank you, Jason.
I'm a driller with Barco Well Service, actually owner. And this is kind of an interesting project because the property belongs to my wife's family. So I'm advising them from a distance a little bit from the driller's standpoint. I typically don't go down to this different the recommendation is to drop the flow rate to 115 or move it to 84 feet. For both, I can certainly look at the layout and see if we move to 84 feet. To drop it to 115, no problem.
Okay, great.
So it's my understanding, and I believe it's on the application, that the RDOLs that Associated will be the ones that actually drill this. And they're much more familiar with formation. We can alter whatever we need to.
Directors have questions.
Guessing from the layout, probably about an acre.
It's also my understanding that the development is designed to maximize catchment of water to help maintain some of that like that.
We didn't calculate that volume. That was based on what the people started. I don't think
So when we looked at how much availability they had to request an operating permit, the calculation came out to that number. And so then when we reached back out to the applicant about how much of that authorization are they going to request under this permit, they wanted it all. believe they would need to come back to the district to amend their well restoration. So depending on what that use was, they possibly could split it off for some type of use other than public water supply. They're within a public water system. So they could not use it to serve public water supply.
2,260 houses.
That is correct. That, you know, who is that? Johnson County, so. And that is correct. I know they, and I apologize, I didn't know that offhand. We did receive a call from Johnson County Stud verifying that this was, you know, not for any public water use.
Going into open town, pond,
Yes,
comes out.
yes. This- the- Irrigation of some of the open spaces. 25 acres of open space. They're not water. Recommendation for park area. I mean, it's part of the drainage structure, or part of the grading that is going to come into flood water, runoff water.
It's time for retention, but yes, they will be maintaining the level for a second. So my recommendation on this is to authorize what is being requested today, conditioned on the applicant relocating the well to meet the 624-foot minimum distance for reducing the gallons per minute to the 115 gallons. No, sir, I think that would be something we'd leave up to the applicant. You know, as in most developments, they have a pretty defined area where they already plan for a well to go because they've probably plotted out some areas for housing. So they need to look back and see if they can actually move that well and not have to replat. It might be that the easiest solution for them is the reduction in gallons per minute. But I think given that they have two alternatives that would allow them to meet the minimum spacing, that we let them have that. I just have to do one or the other.
Based on the fact that we've already got a lot of
And, you know, I don't know that we did any calculations to see that based on that 115, how much of that volume could actually be produced in a given year and maintain the well, the health of that well. So they may be wanting to even look at reducing annual request because as we explained to whoever we spoke to last week, whatever we authorize that permit, you're obligated to pay that.
Sure.
Once we authorize the amount, you cannot increase it. You know, without going to the board again for additional approval, but you can do it.
It's my understanding that the HOA pays for the volume every year. The maximum volume. That's
correct. We do have a provision that allows for a refund on my recommendation. This will allow. The recommendation I have provided today is within the rules and regulations that the board has set, the guidelines. There's the calculation on annuals based on 50,000 gallons per acre.
Doing the math, you're looking at.
And they can relook at that.
They can relook what they get history.
But, you know, I think that's something he can take back to them if y'all approve this today. And if they decide when they come in to sign the final papers, if it's approved, we can reduce it at that time.
Things like that. Having to go through a lot of water.
Kathy, can you hear me?
Yes, right.
Could you remind everyone that it's real important to use their mics because we online can hear you and pretty much not anyone else that's speaking.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
By the way, that was our attorney, Brian Sledge.
First, the format of the permit very understandable for everyone. I appreciate this. You make a motion, Carol?
Not on this, it's listed on the same.
Permit. Distance.
Second. Motion made and seconded the application to show 115 gallons per minute. Hearing the motion, all those in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carried. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to close up here. Second. Motion made and seconded that we adjourn the public hearing. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carried. Now call the regular board meeting of the Prairie Lands Conservation District to order. Order Directors may discuss, consider, and take all necessary actions, including possible expenditures of funds regarding each of the agenda items below. I declare this regular meeting open to the public. Sinclair, can you call roll, please?
Director Becerra,
Here.
Director Kurt, Director Osborne, Director Tischler, Director McPherson, Director Smith, Director Curtis, Director McClure. We have a quorum present.
Thank you, Sinclair. Do we have any public comments this morning? Thank you, Sinclair. I'll entertain a motion on item 4, consent agenda. Second. Motion made and seconded that we approve our consent agenda. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carried. Move on to item number 5, administrative and financials. Kathy.
Okay, one thing I wanted to update the board on today is our audit for 2020. As I mentioned at the last board meeting, we're behind on that process. Some of it due to, sure we're all tired of hearing COVID, but reduced staff with an audit firm, along with some of the fallout from all of the ICM. But we are working with them. I dragged our feet a little bit, waiting for our new employee to get on board to assist with some of that information as well. But I talked with our firm, our audit firm really in April, to get an updated timeline on when we can look at that. And we're working with them right now, pulling some of the last information requested. But they started the field work actually May 10th. Hope to have a draft to me by end of day. And they were ready to present it to the board by the 24th of this month, or supposedly. That was the intent when I talked to them in April. But I let them know that we would not have another board meeting today until June 21st. So they are going to be working with me to identify a schedule to meet with the audit committee or the budget committee to present a draft to them first, and then bring the final to the board at June 21st. Other than that, we're just, things are moving smoothly. Our new comptroller was supposed to begin today. He's had a family emergency, but Wednesday. So things are moving smooth. I think we're at one of the best places we've been in a while. Unless someone has questions for me, I have nothing else to report.
Okay. Say our public hearing was adjourned at 9:27 a.m. Meeting started at 9:20.
Okay.
We'll move on to item number 6. Update on public outreach activities, education, and conservation efforts. Sinclair.
Good morning. This has been a busy time of the year for me, but I've been really excited, especially given the way things were last year. I've just been so excited to be back out and having in-person events, especially with these schools. So some of the key things I'd like to just kind of highlight this morning. If some of you have seen on maybe social media or our website, we are having a Rainwater Harvesting 101 workshop here at the office on June 5th. So it's going to be an educational presentation about rainwater harvesting. And then we'll actually have participants assemble their own 55-gallon rain barrel to take home with them that day. So when I looked this morning before our meeting, we had 23 registrants already for the workshop, and it's been open for about a week and a half. So there's been a lot of interest there. We've actually gotten a lot of calls here to the office about it. So I'm really looking forward to that opportunity in a few weeks. The second quarter issue of our Prairie Lands Eline newsletter was released on the 26th. And then I also released a press release on April 29th about some springtime water conservation tips. And I've had tons of events within the past few weeks with our water education trailer. So I went to Venus Elementary on April 22nd and then went back on May 4th. So the 22nd was for 5th grade classes. On May 4th was for 7th and 8th grade. So we had a total of 293 students for those 2 days. And then I was in Hill County for several days. The end of April, so I was at Hillsborough Intermediate, and then we had a multi-school event at the Hill County Fairgrounds. So students from Abbott, Penelope, Covington, Itasca, Plum, and Mount Palm were all bussed in throughout the day and came in rotations. So we had 179 students come through that day. So I also have several upcoming events you can see here on my schedule. There have been some events that have been canceled or rescheduled due to the weather. But these schools, especially the students and the teachers, are really excited to have an opportunity like this available. So there have been a few that have had to schedule due to thunderstorms, but some of them have rescheduled in the next coming weeks, and there's some who want to schedule for the fall. So excited for some of those events coming up. And again, I did provide a updated chart for our outdoor water-wise educational curriculum. So we have had a few schools added since I previously provided an update. So Baxter Elementary School in Midlothian and then Hillsborough Intermediate enrolled students in our curriculum program. So I just wanted to provide a brief update on that as well. And I would be happy to answer any questions.
St. Clair is just one member.
Thank you, Sinclair. Move on to item number 7, consider an act on resolution 21-002. Anticipating the district's desired future conditions, summer report for GMA.
As we've been talking this past at least 10, 11 months, the GMA has met and may have approved proposed desired future conditions for GMA 8. We presented those conditions to each of the member districts within the GMA. We, as a district, met on February 8, 2021, held a formal public hearing to receive comments following our open comment period. At that time, a very in-depth presentation was given to our public, which closed then. By statute, the district is then required to submit a summary report of any comments that we have received back to the GMA that will be included in the final explanatory report. The deadline for those summary reports to get back to the GMA, I believe, is June 1st. But time frame, this is our last meeting. The district did not receive any formal comments, so it makes our summary report very easy to prepare. And so by resolution that I've included in the packet, it's basically summarizing that we did hold these meetings. Public notice was published as required by statute. Presentation given that no recommended changes were provided to the district for the desired future condition. And with that, I would ask that y'all consider approval of this resolution as presented to you in the packet so that I can forward on to the district.
I have a motion and seconded that we forward the resolution to GMA 21-002, approving it. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carried. Resolution is approved. Thank you. Move on to number item 8. We had Kathy had sent out some new pages for y'all to decide what committees y'all might want to serve on, and finally got all those back, and so we'll sit down and look at it. Decision.
I could, I visited with Charles this morning and we received some of the point recommendations back late Friday, and we just felt like he and I wanted to sit down and go through it versus just putting names in spots. So our goal is to email that out to all the directors. I don't think I'm pretty fine. Didn't get that.
Move on to item number 9, discuss the possible action to authorize the general manager to offer a settlement to the following permittees or their designated representatives for alleged major violations of the district rule. Groundwater in excess of authorized amount. WSC. Surface use permit 060.
I've included in your packet a brief summary of the violation. Chat Water Supply Corporation came on our radar late last week on their overproduction. We were looking at some reviews of the permit application, some of the information that they provided, requested a greater amount for their historical use permit than what they could substantiate once we determined that they didn't have sufficient information to have that put them over pumpage for 2020. So this is kind of like what comes to y'all.
Yes, sir. I need a motion on that. Do I hear a second? Motion made and seconded that we allow the general manager to pursue the settlement or chat WSC. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. Move on to item B. Failure to submit 2021 second quarter water use fees and or fines associated with the timely submission of the renewal 7.3, 7.6. First one is City of Rio Vista or HUP 146. Okay, thank you. It's North Whispering Meadows Water, HUP 107. Third is Penco Incorporated. It's a Bardwell plant. It's a HUP 153. Fourth is Ranch Oaks Mobile Home Park, HUP 009. I'll have a motion. Yes, sir.
Not at this point. None of these were listed in the first quarter. I don't believe so. So what this is second quarter, and we are tracking. The reason I'm pretty confident or not, we are tracking it by first violation, second violation. And that certainly increases whatever the compromise would be to them. Like that'll come down. versus. So, not sure why they were more diligent about paying initially on the first quarter versus the second. All of these are.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Move on to item number 10, discussion and possible action to issue a show cause hearing. Show cause order directing the following permittees or their designated representatives to appear at a hearing to show cause why appropriate enforcement action should not be taken by the district, including without limitations, initiating a lawsuit against the permittees or failure to submit a complete and accurate water production report within the required period. Rule.
I do have some comments. So Mid Park is listed today as a unresolved major violation that was previously listed, I believe, in March. Mid Park is previously oil and gas that was right, but they just taken over some of the meters, reviewing those. So the communication has initially been very limited, but back to staff. We've been working with them, pushing them. Finally had gotten some headway to tell them that do not get your pumpage reports by this time. Thought we were going to, they came back and said, we don't even know where our meters are. So we sent locations to the permit holder, but how to find their meters, so forth. And when they went out there, it's like bees are in one of them, and they weren't going to mess with it. So it kind of disregarded us to a large degree. We gave them a final, we listed you for show cause. So they did get us their pumpage report information late Friday, but they have not paid any of the fines and penalties. So I included in my memo to the board, my recommendation is to go ahead and notice them of a show cause hearing to appear as to why appropriate enforcement is not necessary if they do not remit final information, any outstanding information, including fines and fees by May. So. I was reading up there. So about May 27th.
Motion to issue a show cause order directing U.S. Mid Park LLC to appear at a hearing to be held in conjunction with the June 21st, 2021 board meeting and show cause why appropriate legal action should not be taken against them or non-compliance of district rules, and to instruct the general manager to contact U.S. Mid Park in writing to inform permittee that the board has voted to issue the show cause order and will deliver the same to them if by May 27th. All outstanding pumpage information, including April 2021, is not reported, and fines and penalties due and owing are not received by the district. Do I hear a second? Motion? Okay, do I have a second? Motion made and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carried. Okay. To item number 11, general manager's report and update.
I do have some items to discuss with the board in executive session with our attorney, but I can brief you on a few other things, or if you want to just cover them when we come back.
Let's just go. Right. This time at 9:47 a.m., the board of directors will recess into a closed executive session under 551.071 Government Code. Consult with the district's legal counsel on items on today's agenda. No final action will be taken during the closed session. At the conclusion of the closed session, we will reconvene an open session and announce that to the public. Okay, at 10:40 a.m., the board will reconvene open session and the meeting is open to the public. To okay.
To kind of reiterate some of the items we talked about in executive session, I want to the public that's still listening. Following the February freezing weather, the district is seeing property trends in excess of previous years for the same period of time. Following our rule revisions requiring our permittees to now report pumpage, this district staff is able to help monitor each of these permit inspections. We found several instances where interconnected systems are sharing water due to either catastrophic well failure, line breaks, or even system events. In most cases, the district's rule 3.14K allows temporary transfer of permitted authorization between systems to offset or cover the overproduction. So we're hoping a lot of these systems will be reaching out to us if we're not reaching out to them first. Also want to kind of highlight our well restoration information again for the month of April. We see more and more drilling on these wells. Johnson County, we're at 32 new wells. 26 new wells for Johnson County. The others are staying relatively low numbers, less than 5. But we're just seeing a lot of growth in Johnson County. I want to point out on some meetings. First of all, I went to Somerville County last week and gave a presentation on the district following our annual report. Both Marty McPherson and John Curtis attended the meeting with us. We are also on I'm on the agenda for commissioner support next Monday in Johnson County, as well as on the 25th at Hill County. I've been playing phone tag with Judge Little from Ellis County. And like I said, I hadn't given up. I think I might just show up and stay. Give it a day. Between tornadoes and everything else that's been going on in Ellis County. And you or Randall are having to run into it. Other things, we do have the TWCA conference scheduled for June 9th through the 11th. Both Charles Becerra and Mr. McClure will be attending that with me. We have the Groundwater Summit in August. That again is the conference I really encourage directors to go to. We have 2 already. Over that they would like to go. Anyone else, please let me know. If someone has other questions regarding my report in the packet.
Okay, thank you very much, Kathy. Now we'll move on down to number 12. Is there anything there with Brian or not?
Mr. President, I've updated the board on the legal activities we've had on the enforcement front and trying to get folks into compliance on the permitting front and our efforts at the Capitol on legislation impacting the district. I don't have anything else to add, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions of Brian? Not, we'll move on to item number 13. Open forum and discussion of new business for future meeting agendas. Does anybody have anything at this time? Okay, I'll entertain item 14. Motion made and seconded that we adjourn the regular board meeting of the Fairlands Conservation District. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. We adjourned at 10:45 a.m. Thank you very much. Good day.